Everyone loves to save money.
And we're here to help you play the best games at the lowest possible price. Hi, I'm Marky.
And I'm Freddy. And today we're gonna discuss great deals and some awesome ways to save on newly released games, so stay tuned. Alright, with that being said, let's get started. The first game we have for this week is Resident Evil Village at Gamefly. Yes, Gamefly. Gamefly is not just a renting service, but it also has some awesome pre-owned sales like the one we have today. The game is currently for $27.99, dropping all the way from its regular price of $60.
That's right, and here we have the most recent entry in the Resident Evil series, Village. This one got a lot of attention with its trailers, with Lady D appearing on a lot of them, and it's caused people to turn some heads. But aside from all the silly stuff, with Resident Evil being relatively campy, it's also very good at being very scary. I have yet to play it. I'm hoping to once we reach the true fall season and I got some spooky games to play for Halloween. And I've heard that this one is no different when it comes to genuinely unnerving and unsettling you, while also giving you enough levity to enjoy the game itself, not just scaring you for the sake of it. You got a pretty interesting story to dive into from what I hear. You got a lot of returning characters that have more layers and more detail to them, and a lot of character development that you're free to look toward. So like I said, this is far more than just a roller coaster of scares and making sure you're staying on edge. There's a lot to dive into, and of course with the gameplay as well. While you're scarce on a lot of different weapons, you are always solving puzzles and finding more creative ways to take care of your enemies. And it's a fantastic game that you're able to enjoy either by yourself or maybe get a little crowd, because it's pretty cutscene heavy too, but it also encourages multiple playthroughs. By completing it, you're able to unlock different modifiers that can help the difficulty, or rather make things a little bit more silly, so it's definitely encouraged to keep replaying and discover new things in every playthrough. And at a low price, it's even better, and at such a low investment, it's a hard deal to not pass up. Now, Freddy, there's a reason why I wait until October to play spooky games. They're not really my go-to, but I would very much appreciate a couple of tips, and let's try to keep it as calm as possible. I don't want to scare our guests or our audience too much.
You got it, Marky. Well, on the map, if a room area is red, that means there is still something to be found in that room. Once it turns blue, however, it means that there's nothing else to find, making your journey to solve a puzzle a lot easier. Also, ammo is scarce, so if there are some low-level enemies, you won't need to waste any bullets on them. Instead, use your knife or run away. That way you can clear the area while keeping some ammo for the tough enemies. Now, this is a great deal for this game because you can play it basically at a low price, but also trade it in at a high price. GameStop currently offers 30% bonus trade-in if you trade in this game and get a newly released game like Far Cry 6, for example. Currently, for members, like pro members at GameStop, will get around $28 for this game. And don't forget that you can also get a $5 bonus monthly coupon you can use toward Far Cry 6, and that will drop immediately the price of a newly released game to half the price, while also in the back you played two games that are newly released, like Resident Evil, and after that Far Cry, or maybe FIFA, or any game you want. I'm gonna show you in the diagram how I break it down to make more sense for you. And remember that pro member, it just costs $15 a year, and you get $5 monthly coupon for the entire year, and you get also 20 or 10 sometimes 20% bonus trade in store credit you can get for every game you trade, like in this case. So I definitely recommend getting one. As you see here, I always save, and on top of that, Far Cry 6 offer $10 coupon back after you purchase the game to make the deal even better. Gamefly this week is still killing it with deal, and the next game we have is Mass Effect Trilogy Legendary Edition for $27.99, dropping all the way from its regular price of $60.
These were classics back on the Xbox 360 and recently PS3 days, but obviously they finally moved them into the next generation and made them a lot better looking to boot, especially Mass Effect 1. Of course, Legendary Edition includes Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 with all the respective DLCs. And this was definitely a pioneer in a lot of ways. in the fact that it was a game where your choices mattered and carried on into the next game, allowing you to craft your own kind of story, your own kind of character, your own kind of relationships, and your own kind of scenarios that you're free to explore. On top of it, they've had a very strong core of third-person shooter combat, mixing special powers, or tech abilities as they're called, with different weapons, and commanding your squad mates to do similar things, allow you to plan out strategies, execute enemies in a similar fashion, or just mess with the gravity and send them flying off a cliff, or whatever it is you desire, or just go straight in guns blazing. There's a lot of options here. That's the joy of Mass Effect, is the customization and the amount of freedom in which you get to tackle your missions. All your decisions matter. They'll continue on into the next game, and the trilogy, while some people had opinions about the ending, it's been cleaned up rather nicely, and I believe it's a full, satisfactory experience. And at this price, I was recommending it to you when it was $60 for each of the games. Now you can get all three of them upscaled in 4K for less than half, and it's definitely the way to go. But I can tell you about it all day, and I would love to, but I think I could dedicate a 40-50 minute video to that. In the meantime, though, to keep me from doing that, I'm going to throw it over to Freddy here. He's got a few tips, and he can help your journey all the more efficiently.
Thank you for the great intro, Marky. Well, while you have the option to be both good and evil, it's highly recommended to pick which side you want to be from the very beginning of the game. Your choices will give you access to more choices if you stick to one side of the morality system, so decide early on if you want to be good or evil. Also, the game supports an auto-leveling system, and I would recommend avoiding it if you can. A lot of the fun and investment of the trilogy is how you build your character. In combat, you have a lot of options when it comes to weapons, ability, and skill, so have fun creating a commander shipper that fits your playstyle, rather than having the game pick that for you. Also, don't be discouraged if you feel that the first game out of this 3 games trilogy is a little bit basic. Continue playing, the second game will pick up really good, the third one is even better, so definitely be patient with it.
Would you look at the time? It's now that time where we remind you, if you've been enjoying the video, of course, we would very much appreciate if you could click that like button. Maybe while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and maybe the bell icon for notifications too, so that we can keep you and our other subscribers up to date on all of our weekly uploads, either through our YouTube stories or through our Gaming Input Twitter.
Yes, subscribing will give you access to very quick flash sales that we don't have time to record to tell you about. Sometimes Best Buy will offer deals for 1 day only, and we mentioned in our story, so subscribing to our channel will give you access to these quick sales. Also, it will help our channel to grow and build a community of gamers who are like us, have a passion for games but don't want to break the bank playing them. Alright, enough talking and let's get back to the deals. How can we talk about great deals and forget about PlayStation Store? The next game we have is Moonlighter at PlayStation Store, of course, for $7.19, dropping all the way from its regular price of $20. Now, anytime we mention the game is on PlayStation Store, it automatically means that the game is digital, not physical.
Yes, that's correct. And of course, for Moonlighter, it is definitely a smaller title, an indie developer. But we want to make sure that in addition to the AAA games, indie games are not safe from the massive net that is good savings. And I want to pay special attention to this one, because this one's getting a lot of attention recently too, and I want to make sure as many people are exposed to it as possible. Moonlighter sells itself as a traditional dungeon crawler, running through areas, killing enemies, and gathering loot until you are able to come back to town. But right there is a whole nother half of the game, where you are actually responsible for that town, especially the shops. You're able to stock up other adventurers as they do their dungeon runs, or build parts of the town to improve the overall functionality of the town so that you can go dungeon crawling yourself. It's an endless cycle that's very, very addicting. It's got a beautiful little 16-bit art style that's very special on its own, but definitely also calls back to those good old days on things like the Super Nintendo or maybe even the Genesis. It's an interesting concept, blending a management simulation, so to speak, with a dungeon crawler. You get a good combat, you get interesting strategies and choices when it comes to building your town or deciding what you want to stock your shops with. So it definitely feeds certain aspects for different kinds of gamers, and it can turn one gamer who's into management into a dungeon crawler or vice versa. And I would definitely encourage more people to explore different genres, and indie games are fantastic at that, and Moonlighter is exceptional at that as well. Now, for Freddy, I want to make sure I keep this clear, because while I just described that management sims are great, I just realized that any tips can always help when it comes to managing anything. So if there's anything you can throw out there, please let us know.
Yes, definitely. Whether it's from an enemy you defeat or from one of your shops as you play, be sure to get a bow and arrow as soon as possible. It will help against a lot of ranged enemies and bosses, and has that limited ammo, which is extremely helpful. Believe it or not, your bed back home can be upgraded. Having a better bed gives you a health boost, which is very helpful in the early parts of the game. Yes, you can upgrade parts of the town or the shop, but I would recommend going for the bed first. It can allow you to last longer in the dungeon, which means getting more loot and upgrading the other sections of town faster as well. Now, anytime we mention PlayStation Store, I would like you guys to remember that Cash App still has that magic coupon, 15% discount on a purchase from digital store, as long as you have the debit card linked to it. Make sure you add the boost before you make the purchase, and you will get the cash back after a few days. So make sure you check the description below to take advantage of this deal. Now, $7 on a Moonlighter game might not be worth it for a 15% discount. But if you're gonna consider this next game, Horizon Zero Dawn, for $10, combined, this will make a 15% discount. It's a little bit better discount and worth it. The game is currently on sale on PlayStation Store for $10, and I'll let Marky tell you more about it.
Yes, and it may not be said for a lot of people who are PlayStation owners already, but Horizon Zero Dawn is a staple for any PlayStation owner who hasn't yet to try this amazing game. It's from Guerrilla Games, the people who did the Killzone series, so you wouldn't expect first-person shooter to go into a third-person open-world action-adventure game, but they pulled it off beautifully. Now, it's a story-focused title in and of itself, but you do have a lot of options to go and explore other things. But the big gist that you're going to be noticing, either by watching trailers or by jumping in on the game at this price, is the fact that there are giant mechanical creatures that you can hunt and take over, use them to ride, or use them to combat other threats. And it's very, very, very enthralling to be able to control a beast, stick it after some enemies, or find really creative ways to attack the weak spots of some really giant, daunting creatures, and being able to take them down with so much as a bow and arrow. Now, of course, Aloy, our protagonist, does have a lot more at their disposal, but these skills get upgraded and added over time, in addition to finding different weapons, different armor, and different skills to try. So there's always something new to explore. In addition to a thriving mystery story, and they managed to pull off like a noir mystery style thing in an open world game, with a lot of action set pieces, of course, but it always keeps you thinking in the back of your head as to who's doing this or what's pulling the strings. Fantastic performances all around when it comes to these characters, and even better, if you have yet to get a PlayStation 5 or you own one already and you've played Horizon Zero Dawn already, it might be worth jumping into it again, because PlayStation 5 now has an upgrade for the game. A full 4K and 60 frames per second means you can enjoy this in a whole new way, or for the first time in a much better quality, and it can help you prepare for Horizon Forbidden West coming real soon so that you can stay on top of this great franchise. Now, hunting giant mechanical dinosaurs sounds pretty daunting. What could I do to make this as nice as possible so that I'm not looking at a game over screen as often as I would like to? Well, who better to ask than Freddy over here? So, let's hunt some dinosaurs with style, shall we?
Yes, shall we, Marky? Unlock campfires so you can use them as checkpoint for fast travel, always, always, always. Also learn early on how to modify and upgrade your equipment. You might get confused at the beginning on how to do it, but you'll get used to it. Also always talk to merchants. They will sell you extra upgrades and even maps that will show you where to find useful items. Also, you can sell them the extra stuff that you have to make extra money. Last but not the least, repairing your mount is one critical skill that I definitely advise you to do. And utilize upgraded as soon as you can, so you don't have to end up walking over a large distance, especially in this game because the map is a giant. As we promised you guys, we want you to save money, and what can be better than giving you some free $10 PlayStation Store credit as a giveaway from us. We wanted to thank you guys for reaching 100 subs. We already gave the giveaway for people who supported us in our journey for the first 100 sub. So Marky and I decided that we will continue doing the same and give back to you guys as much as you guys support us. The more you comment, interact with our channel, follow us on Twitter, you get more entries. More details will be in the description below, but the more entries you have, the better chance you have at winning this $10 PlayStation Store credit.
That's right, and we are going to help you even more by throwing out a few honorable mentions for some great games on sale, and I got 2 for you over on the PlayStation Store, and we got some DC themed goodness for you with Injustice 2 at $4.99. This is the standard version, something like the legendary one, but I would definitely recommend this. You get a great story and a whole bunch of characters to explore, with the option to get more characters if you're ever interested or looking to explore the series more. And then we also have Batman, the Telltale series, the Shadows edition, all the way to $7.49. This is the 3rd entry in the Batman Telltale series, of course story-focused games where your choices matter, and you get some more lore into a lot of Batman and his enemies. And if you're ever interested and don't want to drop any money on the game, it is highly recommended. The first episode of the series is available to download as a demo, essentially for free, so you can kind of get a taste of what it is you're getting into before you start spending money. So yes, give the demo a shot. If you haven't tried it already, I mean, if you're a Batman fan, you might already be on board. But give it a shot, and if you like it, you can grab it at an extremely low price.
We didn't include deals from Target, Walmart, or Amazon, or even Best Buy this time. It's just because we didn't find great deals that are worth mentioning and at great prices. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed the video for this week.
Yes, and we want to pose the same question to you guys. We've been doing things with a different format. Of course, for all you PlayStation owners, have you been enjoying the way this has been going? We are exploring options to maybe do a bunch of games on sale and maybe going into little details, but any opinions in the comments down below are always appreciated, so shout them out if you got them.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week. And remember, if you own other consoles like Xbox or Nintendo Switch, we have separate video for those, so make sure you check them out. And also remember that many of the deals that we mentioned last week might still be applicable, so also check that in the playlist.
See you next week.
Thank you for watching.